Okay. Hi, Aino.
Hi, madam.
Yang lain? Okay, so 27 including me. So meaning ada another one person. Right, you ada 27 kan? Okay. So dah ready dah for today's class? Okay, so today we're going to do chapter 21. So yesterday I'm trying to do the recording just like uh, chapter 20 that I did and I upload dekat YouTube. Okay, tapi semalam yesterday tak jadi pula. So tak apa, I just go through using this and then I will record. Okay, and then I will post dekat Google Classroom nanti. Can you hear me clearly, my voice? Okay
Okay, madam.
Kalau kalau rasa tak dengar, you just can interrupt me. Okay, so have you read the case Shopper Smart continuing from the chapter 20? Ada baca tak? So actually Shopper Smart, so this is the next stage. So from the previous one, they did on the system analysis. Okay, so Anne Christie, she decided to, but in the chapter 21, okay, they continue to still thinking whether they want to purchase or they want to outsource, okay, or the companies want to develop in-house the software. All right, so if you refer to, okay, I share the presentation first. Sekejap. Okay, can you see my slide?
Yes, madam.
Okay, so before we discuss the Shopper Smart just now, I just mentioned 4 objectives, okay, for this topic, AIS development strategies. The first one, to describe how the organization purchase the software, okay, and then they have a certain process that they need to make on the application of the software. And then the second one, how the information system department develop custom software. And then number 3, explain why the organization outsource. Okay, so this is how they're going to evaluate the pro and cons of outsourcing the information system. And then the last objective, number 4, this is some of the methods that they discuss in this chapter 21 to help the company to improve the development process. Okay, so I relate to the Shopper Smart. Okay, so you can see in the Shopper Smart case, they have 6 questions arose from the Anne Christie that they need to answer some of these questions. Okay, whether they want to buy the software, okay, or if they want to buy, whether how they're going to select the vendor and then related buying on the hardware software. All right, and then if they want to, the company want to develop in-house, okay, so how the best approach to develop in-house, okay, and then how extensively should Shopper Smart use the end user development software, and then how the company improve the existing system if they want to, if they already have the existing system, and then how they're going to redesign it. Okay, so this is where we discuss in the learning objective number 4. Okay, and then the outsourcing, is outsourcing the information system is viable alternative to obtain new system. Alright, so those are also the questions asked from the N Christie in the Shopper Smart case, and then also talking about the outsourcing the information system is okay. Sorry, that's the I salah copy paste tu. Okay, and then how they want to decide on the methods to help them in the development process. Okay, that question number 6. Okay, so in this topic 21, actually for the companies when they want to develop in-house or they want to continue with the developing the accounting information system, traditionally or commonly they have this kind of problem. Okay, so this is some of the difficulties that the companies go through when they want to develop the AIS. Okay, the first one, the demands, requests, okay, demand requests or the requirements of the users, okay, are so numerous. So sometimes the AIS departments also cannot cater all the demands or the requirement from the users. So that's why some of the project are backlogged, okay, for the several years. And then the new design also does not always meet the user's needs. Okay, we already discussed during in the system analysis, whereby sometimes the user requirements um, do not meet, okay, by the new system. Okay, so those are also the difficulties that the AIS are facing. Okay, then the development takes longer time, okay, to meet the company's need. This is also one of the difficulties. Okay, they take longer time to develop. Okay, for example, if you refer your text, they give the example Fannie Mae spent 8 years and 100 million developing the world's largest loan accounting system. Okay, and then bila dah sampai 10 tahun, the teknologi mungkin dah expired dah. Okay, they have a new technology. So because of the longer time to finish the developing. And then the users are unable to specify their needs adequately. So this is also we already discussed in system analysis, whereby the user sendiri tak tahu macam mana nak explain their needs. Okay, macam kita discuss in the system analysis that we refer the pictures that related to developing the ladder tu hari kan, ada beberapa pictures tu. So the needs of the users sometimes dia nak express dia punya needs tu pun dia tak tahu. Okay, and then bila dah ada miscommunication, so the development of the outcome of the project tu dah do not meet the users needs. And changes to the AIS, changes to the requirements. Okay, so when they have bila dah they go through the development process, sometimes in the middle they have a difficulty bila ada changes on from the users part. So they're difficult to make the changes after the requirements have been frozen into the specification. Okay, so during analysis tu users tak bagi tahu apa sebenarnya nak, ataupun dia punya users needs tu tak sampai kepada system analyst ataupun developers. So dia dah sampai stage specification, dah nak sampai design, tiba-tiba changes on the requirements. So itu some of the difficulties that they face during the developing process. Okay, so we discuss specifically in the chapter 21 ada 3 alternative or strategies selain daripada dia develop in-house. Okay, so this is the 3 strategies too. Whether they can purchase, okay, purchase on the market purchase, and apa nama ni, software yang dah ada in market. Okay, so they can get the ready-made software. Okay, or they can develop in-house. Okay, maknanya sekarang ni dia buat sendiri lah, dia develop sendiri, dia gunakan their own resources to develop, or they can outsource to outside organisation that will do the development process of the system. Okay, so we discuss the first one first, purchasing software. This is covered on the learning objective 1. Okay, So those are the terms used during the if they want to purchase the software. So they call it CAN software. Okay, so this is the uh, purchasing ni maknanya dia beli ready-made software lah. Okay, so software tu already written by the software development companies. So normally this software they sold on the open market. Okay, so they can target broad range of users with the similar requirements. So similar requirement, for example, sometimes requirements yang biasa setiap company nak macam human resource, payroll, okay, accounting. Accounting software kan banyak dekat market kan. Ya, you nak belajar, you belajar UBS, ada software Mr. Accounting, ada software SQL. So those are the written software by the development company. Okay, and then but the major problem if this CAN software ni the often does not meet all the company's information or data processing needs. Sometimes ada certain process that specific to certain company, so the development companies tu tak boleh nak meet that requirements of the companies. So those some of the problem with the CAN software. Okay, then the other one is the turnkey system. So this is the sell in package. Okay, they come together with the hardware. Okay, so tadi more pada software, but turnkey system ni dia combine software and hardware and then sell them as a package. Okay, so the vendor will install the package to the company system and then the user just turn the key system. Okay, so this is more written by the vendor who specialize in the particular industry. Okay, contohnya macam restoran, retail store. Okay, so they can add dia akan meet certain requirement of the industry jugalah. Alright, and then another one is they call application service provider. Okay, so this is where the using of the advancement technology cloud computing. Okay, kita dah discuss cloud computing hari tu kan dalam chapter 20. So this is where the companies they rent the software from the application service provider and deliver the software over the internet. So dia bagi sewa, maknanya the system tu, software tu ada dekat cloud and then the users just rent the software. Okay, and then dia tak perlulah, maknanya macam you the user bila dia dah subscribe tu dia just download ataupun download lah dekat dia punya sistem. Okay, so the companies normally will the developer they have the service on the automate on the upgrading. Okay, so when they use this AASP, the companies can focus on their core business and also they can reduce the cost and administrative overhead. Maknanya tak perlu nak fikir on the maintenance side, on the developing of the software dan sebagainya lah. So they just rental the software from the service providers. Okay, so dia akan deliver over the internet lah of course. Okay, sebab dia guna cloud. Okay, then when we talk about the purchase software, they need also to follow the normal system development life cycle. Walaupun kita kata beli, tapi dia just still need to follow the SDLC that we discussed before, especially on the first and second stage yang kita discuss dalam chapter 20, di mana dia perlu juga buat system planning dan juga system analysis. Alright, but the exception only on the physical design and implementation conversion, yang tu tak ada lah. So yang tu dia boleh skip. Maknanya bila sampai takat analysis stage, during the conceptual design tu dia boleh decide here they will do the decision whether they want to make or they want to buy the software. Okay, but some of the process still need to follow. Okay, cuma dia tak continue after this conceptual design tu, physical design tak ada lah. Dia tak perlu nak do the programming part, installation tak perlu untuk okay, implementation dan semua tu adalah daripada vendor. Okay, so the companies tak perlu nak go through the process yang tu. Okay, so the important part in the purchasing, they since they akan relate to the vendor, so this is some of the acquisition process that they need to follow. Okay, the first one, they have to comply the process on the selecting the vendor. So this selecting vendor decision, whether they want to make or purchase the software, they can make independently of the decision to acquire the hardware, service, maintenance or any other resources. Okay, so the vendor, they can found the vendor whether they can get the referral. Okay, sometimes they can get the referral from the other companies, or during the attending the conferences. Biasanya kalau you attend conference kan banyak vendor-vendor yang ada buka booth, okay, promote their product dan sebagainya, okay, in the industry magazine or over the internet. Over internet pun sekarang ni banyak lah, maknanya di iklan-iklan dekat internet, dan the company can found dekat internet lah. Okay, and then the important things is that they need to choose carefully the vendor, because if they get the vendor that have a little experience, okay, tu akan jadi masalah nanti kemudian hari lah. And sometimes ada problem in the vendor themselves, they don't have sufficient capital, okay, and then dia punya service is poor. Okay, poor product go out of the business of the vendor. Okay, sometimes ada problem di mana dia leave the customer and product with no support, tak ada after service support dan sebagainya. So the first process ni sangat penting. Okay, so who are the vendor that going to supply their software? Okay, and then the second process, they need to do request. Okay, request for proposal. Ni biasalah kan, kita dah ada list of vendor, okay, and then kita akan minta dia hantar proposal. Okay, so especially kalau the companies want to buy large or complex system, okay, so they akan hantar invitation to the vendor to propose a system that meets the company's need by the specified date. Okay, so dia akan minta company tu hantar proposal, so dia nampak lah which vendor yang boleh meet the company's requirement. Okay, so the importance of the RFP ni, the companies, okay, that request for the software tadi, they can save time, okay, because kalau ada banyak vendor, okay, so maybe all the vendors tu dia akan hantar the same information kan, so dia boleh can have a standard format, so dia boleh nak go through dia boleh do the comparison between the vendor tu, very minimal time to use to go through the request proposal. Okay, and then also can simplify the decision making process. Okay, because they use the same format. Biasanya proposal ni dia dah hantar lah, maknanya dia dah bagi pada vendor tu certain format, and then vendor akan hantar using those format, so mudah dia nak buat decision making. Okay, and then reduce error. Okay, sebab kalau dia dah ada certain format, so boleh kurangkan mana-mana information yang mungkin vendor tertinggal kan, so dia can reduce error, avoid potential for disagreement. Sebab benda tu dah bertulis on the document. Okay, so bila later on, bila ada selection, bila dia nak buat pemilihan tu, they can avoid the disagreement between the vendor and the company. Okay, and then the important also dalam proposal ni, when the company wants to request for the proposal, the companies also need to inform the vendor what are their requirements, what are their needs. Okay, so the more information the company provide to vendor, the better the company's chances of receiving the system that meets their requirements. So pentingnya juga kat sini company tu bagi apa yang dia nak, so vendor tahulah which one yang dia perlu meets the requirement. So kat sini pentinglah, okay, for the company untuk give all the information. Okay, kalau tak, vendor tak tahu apa spesifik, contoh ada custom requirements yang the companies perlukan, okay, untuk dia develop the system. Alright, then the next one, the last one here, the evaluate. Okay, evaluate the proposal. So so this one dia akan screen. So tadi dah hantarkan maybe ada 10 to 20 vendors for example. So they will do screening process dulu. Okay, any proposal that are missing important information, then one dia akan reject lah. Okay, that will eliminate from the list. Okay, then the proposal that pass the preliminary screening, so dia akan buat comparison between those vendor. Okay, should be carefully compared with the proposed AIS requirement. So dia akan carefully compare between the what other vendor can provide and with the company's need. Okay, so if they meet all the mandatory requirements, okay, and whether the the proposal tu adalah semua mandatory requirements yang companies nak, and then how many of the desirable requirements they meet. So dia kena go through satu-satu what are the requirements yang companies nak dan whether the vendor tu boleh penuhi dia punya permintaan dia tu. Okay, kalau you refer table 21.1, those are the evaluation criteria. Okay, the example. Contohnya kalau dia nak evaluate hardware. Okay, whether the hardware are reasonable costing. Okay, whether the hardware tu can give the adequate speed and capabilities. So and so on lah, you boleh baca dalam table 21.1. Okay, so those are the example of the evaluation that they need to do, criteria dia. And then daripada comparison tu dia akan select the top vendor that meets their requirement. Okay, and then they invite them to give demonstration. Dia akan minta lah present, give demonstration on how their system will fit their needs, the company's need. Okay, so dia akan invite for the presentation or demonstration. Okay, so kalau you refer here, there ada 3 ways to compare the system performance. Maknanya kat sini daripada top vendor tu mungkin ada tinggal 3 lah. Contohnya lah kalau you refer table 21.2, they have 3 vendors selected, the top vendors. So dia ada 3 cara untuk compare the performance of those vendor. So the first one, they can use benchmark problem. Okay, benchmark problem. So this is where the companies they do comparing system by executing the input process and output task on the different computer system. Okay, so maknanya setiap vendor tu dia akan minta execute the system in input, process and output. Input task, process task and output task. So dia akan tengoklah performance macam mana the proposed ataupun the proposed software tadi. Okay, so dia akan evaluate the result from that tiga vendor yang ada tu. Okay, and then the second way is they use point scoring. Okay, you can refer table 21.2. That's example of point scoring. This is where they assign the weightage. Kalau nampak weight, they put weight tu and also score. Okay, so they put weight based on the criteria. Okay, and then they, kalau yang very important, weight dia 60. Contohnya lah hardware capability, that's they put 60. So dia penting lah tu. Dia juga vendor support to 70. Okay, so they put weight on each of the criteria. And then for each of the criteria, vendors are score. Dia akan put scoring based on how well the proposal meet the requirements. Okay, and then they calculate the weighted score. So weighted score. So kalau you nampak at the bottom of vendor 2, vendor 1, vendor 2 and vendor 3. So mana yang give a higher score, so itu yang akan dapat ni dah, yang dia akan pilih untuk provide the software tadi. Dia akan purchase from those vendor, from this vendor yang score yang paling tinggi. Okay, and then number 3, requirements costing. So requirement costing, they do comparing system based on the cost of all required features when software does not meet all the requirements. Okay, so when the software does not meet all the requirement, the cost of development and available features is estimated and added to the cost. Ni maknanya kat sini dia dah kira dah berapa cost mana-mana features yang meet the requirements, and then dia akan kira juga cost which features that that unavailable. Maknanya ada katakan antara 3 vendor tu mungkin ada feature-features yang cannot meet by the vendors tu. So they also estimate the cost of developing the unavailable features by the vendor. Unavailable features that cannot be provided by the vendor lah. So maknanya kat situ pun dia akan estimate. Maknanya kalau contohlah vendor satu ni ada 3 features yang dia tak boleh nak meet. So 3 features tu cost 500,000. Okay, vendor tu dia tak boleh meet 1 or 2 features that give them cost to develop that unavailable features 20,000. Contohnya lah. So maknanya daripada pengiraan tu dia tahulah kalau dia pilih vendor tu, so dia kena tambah lagi cost untuk develop the unavailable features. So dia daripada situ dia boleh tengok lah, boleh nampak decision mana yang vendor mana yang dia nak pilih. Okay. Then so those are the things that that you should know on the first method ataupun strategi purchasing. Okay. So kalau ada soalan, you can interrupt. Ada soalan? Ada soalan dekat chatting? Ada ke? Tak ada
Tak
Tak
ada.
ada.
Tak ada.
Semua okay?
Okay, madam.
Alright, thank you. Okay, so I proceed. So the next one. Sorry. To learn the objective one. Oh, okay, sekejap. Saya share salah slide ni. Okay, I stop presenting. I share the next learning objective 2. Sekejap ya. Okay, so learning objective 2 related to development by in-house information system department. Okay, sekejap. Okay, so here the organisation they develop software by their own information system department lah. Okay, so dia pilih untuk develop sendiri. Okay, so one of the advantage is they can provide significant competitive advantage. Okay, sebab dia boleh custom made their own system. So mungkin kat sini competitive advantage tu maknanya dia tak samalah dengan sistem orang lain. Dia boleh custom made, okay, the software. Okay. Sekejap, I share. Okay, but normally the software yang mana yang dia boleh dapat on the market biasa dia are more using the on shelf software lah. Ini objective 2. Okay. Okay, nampak? Okay, so here sometimes why they want to develop in-house ni because they want to meet the unique needs. Maknanya dekat software yang ada dekat market tu tak boleh nak meet dia punya requirement. So dia perlu develop in-house. Okay, and then as I mentioned tadi, they provide significant competitive advantage lah sebab tak sama dengan orang lain kan. But developing custom software ni is also difficult. Okay, we discussed earlier of this topic tadi, kita kata develop software ni sometimes akan ada timbul masalah kepada company lah. Contohnya, they tend to error prone, okay, and then consume great deal of time, perlu gunakan banyak resources, okay, especially kalau the system tu are complex, okay, and then they have a problem on the poor requirements, okay, they don't get the feedback daripada user ke contohnya kan, so user tak boleh nak bagi requirement yang they need, so they have a poor requirement, insufficient planning, inadequate communication and cooperations, this is also the problem that they face, okay, lack of qualified staff. So mungkin dalam dia punya information system dan department dia tak ada yang ada staff yang have a skill to develop the system kan, and also the problem in poor top management support, they don't get the management support. Okay, so if you look at the slide ni, I give you the guidelines, the recommending when using the outside developer. Okay, so ni kalau misalkan dia nak develop in-house, okay, dia boleh juga sometimes dia hire outside developer untuk develop system dia, that custom system. Okay, but they have to follow this guideline. The first one, carefully select the developer. Okay, macam vendor juga tadilah. Sama juga case dalam untuk pilih developer. So they need to select the developer that have the experience, especially in the related to the company's industry. Okay, and then also the developer, that developer have the depth understanding of the companies, how they conduct their business. Kalau tak nanti takut dia tak faham how the business are being conducted of the company tu, dia akan timbul juga masalah bila nak develop the system. And then kena ada contract, okay, so nak kurangkan miscommunication ataupun kurangkan disagreement nanti later on, so kena ada contract. And then must have the plan and monitor each of the step involved in the developing. Okay, frequently monitor the development process, maintain effective communication, okay, frequently communication with the developer, and then also control all the costs, okay, so and also minimize the cash outflow until the project is accepted. So takut nanti ada yang vendor yang ambil peluang charge lebih ke contohnya, so dia kena control all the cost. Okay, but for the company itself, okay, there is no single right answer whether they want to buy, okay, build or buy a software. Okay, so it depends pada companies tu. Different companies, they can come to different conclusion. Sama ada nak beli software yang kita discuss tadi ataupun dia nak develop in-house. So mungkin ada companies, dia ada certain condition ataupun constraint yang berbeza. Okay, so dia kena tengoklah pro and cons that which decision that give more benefit to the company. Okay, but under this topic, we're going to discuss, okay, this end user computing. So this is another term. It's under development in-house. Okay, since kalau kita kata, bila kita kata develop in-house tadi, ada masalah dari segi lengthy of time of the information system department to finish the project on the development kan. Okay, ada, so end user computing ni, EUC ni, this is one of the development that hands-on development, use and control of the computer-based information system by users. Okay, contohnya lah, katakan you as the workers, employee dekat satu company ni, okay, and then you handle on the contohnya on the fixed asset, contoh lah, okay, you handle on the fixed asset, so you handle on the fixed asset, so you nak develop you punya sistem sendiri, macam guna Excel, Microsoft Excel, you you dah habis AIS tahun 55 nanti belajar Microsoft Excel, so you dah tahu dah macam mana nak guna Microsoft Excel. So contohnya you nak gunakan Microsoft Excel tu untuk your own system untuk manage fixed asset of the company. Alright, so that's we call end user computing. Okay, maknanya the user, the hands-on development, the control computer-based information system by the user. So this is when the information user, okay, such as manager, accountant, internal auditor, okay, or any other employees in the company, they develop their own application using computer specialist as advisor. Maknanya you buat, tadi contoh tadi, you buat guna Excel ke, guna Microsoft Access ke, database contohnya, tapi still lah you akan minta advice daripada information system department, mungkin dari segi teknikal, okay, part-part teknikal contohnya, ataupun mungkin advice dari segi apa nama ni, nak minta information of the database ke, right? So tapi you yang buat sistem tu, okay, tapi ni bukannya sistem yang besar lah, tak involve complexity of the system, so just simple to meet certain queries ataupun requirement of your own requirement, so you develop on your own. So as I mentioned, this is inappropriate for the complex system. Okay, ada typo error tu, complex, inappropriate for complex system. Okay, ataupun any of the system that need to process large number of transaction and update database report. So kalau yang ni tak sesuai lah, maknanya nak develop sendiri. The users want to develop on their own. Okay, complex. So yang tu memang dia kena hire, minta orang information system department jugalah yang kena buat. Okay, so implication dia, bila ada user yang buat sendiri, okay, dia akan effect juga kepada information system staff role. Okay, so sekarang ni kalau in the traditional role, traditional service biasanya information staff ni akan develop system kan. Okay, so sekarang ni bila dah user tu boleh buat sendiri, maknanya the information staff they just maintain the transaction processing system yang ada, okay, and also maintain the database. They can provide advice on the technical or operational support. Okay, and also they just make information available to the users lah. So that information tu users ambil and then dia akan guna untuk dia punya sistem tu. Okay, so but here adalah, of course akan ada advantages and disadvantages. Alright. The first one, the user creation, control and implementation. Okay, maknanya kat sini the user they can control the development process. Okay, instead of information system department yang control, so user sendiri yang control sebab dia yang develop. Okay, and then kat sini juga akan develop dia punya ownership. Sometimes bila ada rasa ownership of the users ni, they have macam dia ada rasa responsibility to develop the better system sebab dia sendiri yang nak guna kan. Excuse me. And then the second one, system that meets the users needs, because dia tahu apa yang dia nak, so dia akan penuhi apa yang dia nak lah, so of course dia akan meet their needs. Okay, and then timeliness, they can reduce the lengthy delay. Okay, kalau misal kata dia minta information system department yang buat, mungkin information system ada backlog yang banyak lagi sistem yang dia nak develop, so instead dia tunggu, dia just buat, dia guna dia sendiri, their own skill untuk develop. Okay, and then free up the system resources. So kat sini maknanya freeing up the information system staff punya task lah. So information system task, staff dia akan boleh fokus kepada other development ataupun maintenance activities. Okay, and then the last one, the advantage is versatility and ease of use. Okay, so since users sendiri yang develop, so they have more understanding, and then also the user can change the information they produce and modify dia punya application anytime based on their requirements. Okay, and then this is advantages. Okay, and then also have the disadvantages. So since user tu bukan orang yang expert dalam development kan, dia bukan programmer. So the logic and development errors tu might be occur jugalah. So likely to make errors and also less likely to recognize when errors have occurred. Sebab they are, maybe they have little experience on the system development. Okay, and then sometimes bila user buat ni dia inadequate tested application. Biasa kalau go to the real process of the development, okay, information system staff akan buat testing dulu before they apply ataupun launch the system tu. Okay, but for the user sometimes dia rasa benda tu tak perlu kan. They do not recognize the need to do the testing part. Okay, so kat sini dia akan adalah masalah dalam inadequate tested of that system. Okay, inefficient system. Okay, because the users I just mentioned tadi not the programmers. So they are not trained in the system development. So as the result, the system are not always efficient. So itu salah satu daripada disadvantage dia. And then poorly controlled and documented system. Control. Okay, sometimes user ni dia lupa untuk control relate to system control. System control ni yang you discuss dalam AIS 615 yang banyak-banyak control tu. Sometimes user dia skip this ataupun dia do not see this is the important part lah bila dalam development. And also documented system. Okay, kalau orang information system, documentation ni penting. Sebab bila ada changes of requirement, dia akan refer balik documentation yang dia dah, yang dia maksudnya apa yang dia tulis sistem tu, dia kena dokumentkan dia. So bila ada apa-apa changes, ada masalah, dia akan refer balik pada documentation tu. But for the user, sometimes mungkin dia rasa benda tu macam susah kan, ataupun consider unimportant. So they have poorly controlled and documented the system. Okay, bila ada EUC ni. And then system incompatibility. Okay, maybe because of the user dia tak well versed on the technical part. Okay, mungkin bila dia develop system tu tak compatible juga dengan hardware ataupun incompatible with the other system in the companies. Okay, ataupun tak dapat support network tak boleh nak support dan sebagainya lah. Ni more kepada technical part. Okay, then the next one, duplication of system and data and wasted resources. Ini berlaku bila kadang ada different user, dia two different user contohnya. Okay, they need dia punya users need ni sama, and then dua-dua ni buat benda yang sama. Okay, so akan ada duplication lah dan juga wasted of resources. So instead of semua orang boleh guna sistem yang sama, tapi dah ada dua dah sistem yang sama yang built by different person, different users. So dah jadi wasted resources and duplication of system. Okay, and then increase cost. Okay, so maybe this one bila dia dah everyone have their own hardware, software, and then akan involve juga dalam updating cost of updating the software and hardware. Okay, after the few years dia kena ada maintenance cost dan sebagainya, yang tu akan involve increment of cost jugalah. Okay, alright, so because of those problems, okay, the companies need to manage and control this end user computing. So one of the way how organization that can manage this EUC is they can launch the help desk. Okay, so the help desk can encourage, support and coordinate and control the end user BTs. Ini salah satu daripada companies macam mana cara dia nak control or manage the EUC, dia boleh adakan help desk. Okay, so the help desk, the analysts and technicians from the information system department, they can answer all the employees' questions with the purpose of encourage them to on the support of the UC dan sebagainya lah. So ni help desk provide by the IT or information system staff. okay, daripada department IS. Okay, so those are the things that can be done. Okay, from the help desk, provide hotline assistance kalau ada users ada masalah kan. Training end user how to use specific hardware, software. Ni boleh mengurangkan problem on the technical tadi, especially on the maintenance and support. Okay, evaluate the new end user hardware, software product. Okay, maybe they can provide the standards, developing implementing of the EUC standard, kena ada standard dalam company tu dia dah letak dah SOP macam mana kalau nak buat end user computing ada standard dia. Okay, and then also controlling on the corporate data. So dia kena control lah corporate data. So sometimes ada data-data yang perlu not all users can access kan. So dia kena control juga on the all those data, company's data. Okay, so that's end of the learning objective 2. Okay, ada soalan kat situ? So yang ni strategi yang kedua lah. Maknanya dia nak make the system, develop in-house. Okay, yang ketiga, kalau tak ada soalan saya proceed to the third one. Is outsourcing. Nak dengar kan perkataan outsourcing? So outsourcing ni dia outsource outsiders to develop. Okay, they're hiring an outside company to handle all or part of the organization's data processing activities. So yang ni outsource ni tak semestinya develop system lah. Kadang-kadang dia boleh juga outsource untuk maintenance hardware pun, outsource dia service on in terms of service on dia punya mainframe dia. But specifically here we talk about the processing activities lah ataupun development. So in the mainframe outsourcing agreement, the outsourcer buy their client's computer and hire most of the client's employee. So this is another things yang dalam outsourcing ni, the outsourcer, okay, salah satu cara dia nak buat outsourcing, dia beli komputer of the clients tu, dia punya ataupun kita punya company, kita hire outsourcer and then outsourcer beli our computers and then kita pekerja dalam company tu akan being hired by the outsourcer untuk jadi dia punya employee untuk dalam development process, dalam system development tadi. Okay, and then they then operate and manage the entire system on the client side or they migrate the system to the outsourcer's computer. Okay, so either way, whether dia boleh terus operate and manage system dalam companies, okay, dalam client punya side, or dia boleh migrate juga system tu to the outsourcer's computers. Okay, so dia boleh guna antara cara-cara ni lah bila dia buat outsourcing. Okay, in the client server or PC outsourcing, okay, the organizations outsource a particular service, a segment of the business or a particular function of PC support. This is another outsourcing juga as I mentioned tadi. So it's not necessarily just untuk buat data processing activity. Outsource juga boleh outsource just a segment of business, okay, ataupun just a particular function saja yang dia outsource or just untuk outsource for the PC support sahaja. Okay, so it depends pada company punya keperluan lah yang mana yang dia perlu untuk dia outsource. So the growth in the outsourcing applications ni, normally the outsourcing they are used for standardize the application. Contohnya application yang common application that being used by company in the industry. Contohnya macam payroll. Okay, and then most the company they do not outsource the strategic management of their IT environment. Sebab strategic management ni macam benda yang kerahsiaan lah. Untuk company tu dia tak nak orang luar tahu, so biasanya dia tak outsource lah any of the strategic management or IT environment. Okay, and then outsourcing is no longer confined to the large organisation. As prices have come down, the smaller companies are jumping on the outsourcing bandwagon. So yang ni maknanya kalau company yang besar biasanya dia boleh build in-house. Okay, dia jarang lah buat outsourcing. Dia boleh ada dia own resources, dia ada own budget, dia boleh build in-house, so dia akan buat sendiri. Tapi biasanya kalau outsourcing ni company-company kecil, sebab mungkin dia lack of staff yang ada skill untuk buat untuk develop sistem. Okay, so dia boleh outsource the service to the other company. Okay, so those are advantages and disadvantages of this outsource. So the first one, advantages, they can give business solution, strategic, viable strategic and economic business solution to the company. So bila dia outsource, maybe dia boleh fokus lah kepada benda lain kan. Instead of dia fokus on development, dia fokus pada dia punya core business dia. Okay, and then they can utilize their asset. Okay, so dia tak perlu nak allocate their staff untuk develop. Okay, and also can improve dia punya cash position and reduce expenses on the resources. Okay, and then access to greater expertise and more advanced technology. So biasanya outsourcer ni orang yang dah expert lah, yang dalam bidang dia untuk develop, ataupun yang dalam bidang-bidang yang dia dah ada experience, expertise and also advanced technology. So dia boleh access to those advanced technology. And then they can lower down their cost. Okay, the outsourcer lower cost by standardizing the user application. So dia boleh reduce the cost. Less development time, since the outsourcer ni biasanya adalah companies yang dah ada expertise, experience. So the development process tu maknanya dia dah tahulah kan, dia tak perlu nak explore the new things, so they can less the development time. And then elimination of peaks and valleys usage. So this is more kepada company yang maybe they use the system based on the seasonal ataupun contohnya ada certain system tu dia hanya guna during contoh kalau dekat Malaysia ni musim tengkujuh je contohnya lah. Musim tengkujuh ni Oktober, November, Disember, Januari. Okay, tapi bulan-bulan lain dia tak guna sistem tu. So dia akan bagi advantage pada company lah. So dia tak perlu nak fokus kepada to develop the system yang semata-mata untuk dia meet that seasonal requirement tadi. Okay, and then can facilitate the downsizing. Okay, so bila company ada berlaku downsizing, okay, dia pun akan effect kepada AIS functions. So meaning kalau dia boleh outsource all certain functions of the AIS kepada company lain, so dia boleh facilitate the company to downsize the punya business. Okay, but not necessary outsourcing ni successful lah. Okay, so dia kena well plan. Okay, kalau nak outsource, they need to well plan dia punya outsource process dia, especially contohnya macam bila kita deal dengan orang luar ni, of course kena ada agreement. Okay, and then they need to monitor the outsourcer juga. Okay, they have the proper planning. Okay, ada a good communication between the companies dengan outsourcer dan sebagainya lah. So they need to have the well plan agreement dengan outsourcer. So those are disadvantages. Drawbacks dia. Okay, the first one, inflexibility. So dia tak flexible. Sometimes the company dia bila ada changes of the business process contohnya, so dia dah ada contract dah before that nak kena buat apa-apa, kali company tu ada perubahan dalam business process. So sometimes outsourcers ni dia macam reluctant untuk ubah kan. So itu yang jadi inflexibility. So dia kena ada lah. So at least kalau kat sini kalau dia ada dalam agreement, okay. Kalau tak ada dalam agreement, akan ada disagreement dekat situ antara company dengan outsourcer. And then loss of control. Okay, sometimes they have a risk of losing control of their own system and also of their own data. Ini bahaya jugalah kalau lost control of data. So dia kena be careful bila do the outsourcing. They make sure certain data yang mungkin sensitive data or strategic management punya data. So yang tu mungkin dia tak outsource lah kepada company lain untuk gunakan data-data tu. Okay, and then reduce the competitive advantage. This one, since biasanya companies yang luar yang develop, so dia maknanya benda tu dah sharing dengan orang lain kan. So itu yang jadi reduce competitive advantage. So tak ada companies tu dah have they have lose sight of the how the AIS produce the competitive advantage kat situ. And then lock-in system. Okay, whereby this is when the incurred expensive and difficult to reverse the outsourcing. Macam inflexibility juga tadi. Sometimes bila dia dah ada agreement, dia susah nak, dia dah terikat dah. Contohnya kalau dia nak hire, kalau company besar dia hire ERP system. ERP system ni mahal. Ada incurred cost sampai beribu-ribu lah, up to million pun ada. So bila kat situ dia dah lock dah, dia susah nak reverse. Nak reverse balik. So dia dah ada agreement, katakan the companies yang provide ERP tu ada agreement 10 tahun dia provide the service. So dia dah lock dengan company tu untuk get the service. Tapi mahal. So itu jadi disadvantage kepada company. Okay, and then unfulfill the goals. Sometimes this is a critic claim the outsourcing benefit. Okay, mana dia sometimes the outsourcer tu dia tak meet the requirement jugalah. Okay, and then kalau dia pilih salah outsourcer, dia some of the outsourcer tu yang ada experience in bad service, poor service. Okay, and then increase risk, whereby this one they expose the company to the significant operational, financial, technology, strategy, personnel, legal and regulatory risk. So itu risiko-risiko yang dia kena tahulah. So kalau companies nak outsource, they need to go through all those drawbacks yang dia kena tahu. Okay, so that nanti dia tak lock into the agreement with the outsourcers. Okay, so itu 3. So ini learning objektif yang ketiga tadi kan. So kita dah discuss outsourcing. So itu 3 methods yang besar lah. Okay, untuk the companies decide whether they want to make, to buy ataupun they outsource. So 3 method tu. So itu 3 strategi yang dia boleh buat. Okay, and then the rest of the topics ni, some of the things you already go through masa AIS 615. Okay, methods for improving system development. Okay, so this is the last learning objective. So methods of improving system development, dia ada 4 methods. Okay, so methods ni actually to simplify, improve and speed up the punya development process. Okay, so the first one is related to business process management. Kalau dulu dia panggil business process re-engineering, yang tu another term pernah digunakan juga sebelum ni, but this one is more drastic and one time event approach. So yang ni dia more drastic. Most company they are more preferred now using business process management, BPM. Okay, so kita tengok satu one by one. So this is the systematic approach to continuously improving the organization business process. So they nak continuously improve the business process. So this is the how they can improve the punya system development. So they have 4 important principles under this method. The first one, the business process can produce competitive advantage. Okay, when they have dia tengok pada perubahan kepada business process tu, dia akan nampak any innovative process because of the changing on the business process, changing on the customer, changing on the market ataupun any regulatory demands. So kat situ dia boleh produce competitive advantage for the business lah. So dia meet ataupun dia ikut kepada perubahan-perubahan tu. Okay, and then business process must be managed end to end. Okay, so this is especially the view of the business process as the strategic organizational asset. Okay, so this is where the business can see this BPM ni sebagai satu strategi dia punya business strategi juga. Okay, untuk dia enhance dia punya system development process tadi ataupun improve the system development. And then business process should be agile. Okay, agile ni maksudnya dia ikut kepada perubahan. Kalau ada perubahan kepada proses, perubahan kepada customer, so the organisation also continuously improve, okay, and adapt to that changes to the business process to compete lah, okay, adapt kepada perubahan-perubahan tu. And then the fourth one, business process must be aligned with the organizational strategy and needs. Ni of course lah dia kena align dengan business strategy and also the organizational strategy and needs. Okay, and then under business process management, we call business process management system. So bila perkataan sistem ada ni, dia business process management tu dia automate and facilitate the business process improvement. So bila penggunaan BPMS ni, dia can improve the communication and collaboration, can automate the activities, okay, and also can integrate with the other system or integrate dengan partner dia sendiri, other partners in the value chain. Okay, so contoh dalam ERP system, so tu salah satu contoh lah, dia support the business process management system ni. So they have 4 major components dalam BPMS. The first one, the process engine to model and execute the application. Okay, dia boleh automate the business rule. Okay, termasuk business rule lah, termasuk this where they use the process engine to model and execute the application. And then they can have business analytic. Okay, business analytic, they can help the management to identify and react to the business issue, react to the trend, opportunities. Okay, and then they have collaboration tools. Collaboration tadi dia kata boleh collaborate dengan partners, collaborate with the other system. So bila ada tools ni, they can remove the communication barrier. And then the fourth component, the content manager to store and secure electronic documents, images and other files. Okay, ini another component, dia ada storage untuk content manager. And then the store tu adalah secure lah, that they can store the content. Okay, and then when they use this BPMS, business process management system, in other way, they also can improve the internal control of the company, whereby in the system tu, they can have authorization, they can include complex and expensive authorization restriction. Okay, they use the organization business process rule, so dia boleh adakan authorization. Kalau you still remember that you learn in the AIS 615, authorization ada, segregation of duties, application control, audit trail, semua tu ada being provided dalam business process management system. So this also can improve lah dia punya internal control when they use this BPMS, okay, untuk help them untuk improve the system development. Okay, then the second one, prototyping. Ini pun you pernah dengar kan? So I'm sure you dah buat dalam AI 615. So this is the approach to system design in which they simplified the working model of system that they develop. Maknanya contoh katakan you selalu nampak kalau benda fizikal macam nak buat kereta ada kereta prototype car for example. So relate to the system pun dia ada prototype system. Okay, so it is used sometimes in the development stage. When there is uncertainty, meaning the user may be unable to specifically define their needs, the tasks are not well structured, or the input or output are not known. So bila bila perkara-perkara ni berlaku, so dia boleh gunakan prototyping tu untuk memudahkan dia dalam development stage. So mungkin dalam input, contohnya katakan dia nak design input screen. So dia design dulu the input screen tu dan dia tunjuk dekat user. Bukan dia real lagi, itu prototype baru. So the user boleh dapat feedback daripada user. Okay, and then bila mungkin users dia tak nampak lagi kan apa yang dia nak ataupun dia tak boleh nak gambarkan input screen tadi tu, so the developer tu design dulu and then bagi dekat user dan user give the feedback. Okay, so dalam prototyping they will involve berapa step? 4 steps. Kalau you refer figure 21.1, the step for developing the system from the prototype. So involve 4 steps. Okay, so you boleh tengok step kat dalam that figure. So the first step, they will determine the input data dulu. Data input. Okay, data input needed and what outputs. Okay, output, so dia akan dapatkan dulu daripada users lah. So user akan bagi tahu their specific basic needs. And then analyst, okay, they will help the users to identify the needs, develop the cost estimates. Ini kita dah discuss dalam system analyst from the previous topic. Okay, so dia buat benda yang sama juga. And then from this dia akan the developer dia akan tengoklah the identify and then they have to ensure the users expectation are also realistic. Sometimes dia kadang-kadang user ni dia terlalu demanding sedangkan benda tu dia tak boleh nak buat. System developer tak boleh nak buat kan, ataupun benda tu memang beyond the expectation, terlalu canggih sangat memang tak boleh nak buat contohnya kan. So dia kena tengoklah the expectation of the users tu. Okay, realistic. And then after that the second step, develop the initial prototype. Okay, so after they get the user approval, they develop the initial prototype. Okay, and then the emphasis is on the low cost and rapid development. So initial prototype ni maknanya bukannya prototype yang betul-betul macam a real system lah. Dia kena just a prototype yang tak belum banyak cost tapi dia boleh do rapid development on the prototype based on the feedback from the user. So because on the next step nanti dia akan tunjukkan that initial prototype to the user. User will experiment. Okay, the third step, user will experiment the prototype, determine whether that prototype meets their needs. So selagi kalau dia dapat maknanya dekat step ni kalau they does not meet the needs, dia akan modify sampailah users tu puas hati. Dia punya, you nampak dia punya circle tu akan berulang kali lah. Dia akan repeat sampai dari user tu puas hati dan meet dia punya requirement. Okay, and then the next step dia boleh, maknanya dah prototype tu memang betul-betul dah meets the user's requirement. So the next step, whether they can use that prototype as the prototype operational, maknanya digunakan prototype tu terus untuk implement or for the real design of the system ataupun tidak lah. So kalau yes, maknanya they develop initial prototype into the fully functional system. If no, they can use that prototype as the specification for the application development. Maknanya dia akan gunakan itu sebagai dia punya specification untuk the next, maybe on the next system design. Contohnya physical design yang betul-betul yang system, the real system. Okay. So when they can use this prototype. Okay, bila high level of uncertainty, kita dah discuss tadi kan, user tak tahu nak specify the needs, dia boleh gunakan prototype untuk reduce the uncertainty. When it is unclear what questions to ask, sometimes dia tak tahu macam mana nak dapatkan feedback daripada user, dia tunjuk the prototype tu, so they get feedback from the user. And then the final AIS cannot be clearly visualized, dia cannot visualize clearly apa output dia, so dia sediakan prototype. And then there is a highly likelihood of the failure. So this is another situation di mana perlunya digunakan prototype untuk make the system development process can reduce the problem lah during the system development process. So kalau you refer table 21.3, those are the conditions that favor the use of the prototyping. So nanti refer that table. Okay, then they have advantages and disadvantages. So I think this one you can read through on your own. Masa saya discuss tadi tu pun ada dah banyak yang saya dah cerita dah. Okay, so this can reduce this video punya timing ni. Okay, boleh kan? Boleh go through. So some of the things tu actually you dah go through masa 615. So mungkin you boleh refresh balik apa yang you dah belajar lah. Okay, and then this one also you already done dalam 615 juga, agile methodology. So agile methodology ni is a guiding philosophy and a set of principle for developing the information system in an unknown and rapidly changing environment. So this is more kepada penggunaan ni sesuai untuk sistem yang kompleks yang bila effect by the changes. Sebab kalau you tahu kita follow kepada system development life cycle ataupun kita panggil waterfall approach. Kalau you ingat 615 ada beberapa metodologi kan. One of it is the waterfall. Yang guna SDLC ni yang step by step tu itu adalah waterfall approach. Okay. So waterfall approach ni is quite rigid. Maknanya habis satu phase dia dah keluar output barulah pergi kepada the next phase. And then the second phase tu dia dah buat proses dari second phase, keluarkan dia punya output dia, then go to the next phase. So biasanya input from the previous phase akan jadi output from the previous phase akan jadi input to the next phase. So dia punya steps by step tu is very rigid. So untuk sistem yang kompleks yang selalu berlaku perubahan, contohnya changes on the users, selalu ada perubahan needs, users needs ataupun dia punya users requirements ataupun the rapid changes on the technology. Sebab biasa teknologi ni kan kadang-kadang ada certain teknologi yang memang cepat, sampai 3-4 bulan dah the next 4 month tu dia tak valid dah. So dia kena cepat. So maknanya kalau dia punya proses development tu lama, takes time, so dia kena adapt to those changes. So that's why dia gunakan this agile methodology approach ni. So they can respond to the change, okay, they can emphasize on the individual and interaction rather than process. They can emphasize on the customer collaboration rather than contract the negotiation. They can produce also the quality software rather than produce good software recommendation. So biasanya kalau dia follow SDLC ataupun follow the traditional method waterfall approach tu, dia are more kepada documentation for each of the phases. So untuk agile development, dia kalau you tengok gambar rajah ni, dia punya steps tu lebih kurang sama macam SDLC. Okay, System Development Life Cycle. Cumanya dia boleh dia in circle. Maknanya lepas pada track and monitor, kalau ada perubahan tu dia boleh patah balik. So sebab tu dia jadi circle. Sebab tu dia panggil agile. Maknanya dia boleh adapt to the changes. Okay, adapt to the changes. So this is another approach yang kebanyakannya dia gunalah this method. Okay, sebab kadang-kadang bila kita deal dengan teknologi kadang cepat kan, dia perubahan dia cepat. So dia adapt to this approach. So dalam textbook tu dia ada mention on the the number of development methodology, they have three most important that discussed. They panggil Scrum, Extreme Programming and Unified Process. So 3 tu. So actually this is a 3 methods yang biasanya yang macam mana cara approach dia lah penggunaan agile development ni. Tapi saya tak go into detail dalam this slide. I want you to read through on your own page 694 until 696. Ada 2 pages. Okay, 2 pages that related to that 3 important things yang ada dalam agile development. Okay, then the last part, the other methods that can improve the system development is case 2. This one also you already discussed in 615, computer aided software engineering ataupun case 2. Masih ingat lagi tak? Ke dah lupa dah? Okay, so actually this one dia gunakan software untuk dia develop the software. Case 2. Okay, this is integrated package of computer-based tool that automate important aspect of the software development process. Maknanya dia gunakan tools ni, software lah, basically tools ni to develop the software juga. So there are other certain business process tu they can automate those dalam development process. Okay, so they can use this tool to plan, to analyze, to design, to program, and also to can maintain the information system. Okay, so you boleh check through the advantages and disadvantages also here. So yang ni pun you boleh refresh balik lah apa yang you dah belajar dalam 615. Okay, so alright, so itu saja chapter 21. So kalau ikutkan case Shopper Smart tu, okay, so dia dah go through all the strategies, Christie N kan, kalau you tengok summary and case conclusion tu, so at the end of course lah dia akan final decision dia adalah untuk make the software. Okay, kalau tak kita tak boleh nak proceed to the next topic pula. Okay, so dia akan go to the next phase. Okay, untuk design. Okay, design phase chapter 22. Okay, so dia dah tengok lah all those pro and cons for each of the strategy tadi. Okay, and then the final decision is they want to proceed to the conceptual design phase. Okay, for the company to do the end user development. Okay, ataupun in-house software development. Okay, so kita akan tengok nanti in the chapter 22 on the next phase. Okay, after the system analyst dah ada strategi dia dah decide strategi apa yang nak buat, and then proceed to the system design, implementation and operation chapter 22. Okay, so until this slide, so that's the end of the chapter 21. Okay, so any question? Any question? Ada lagi ke?
Tak
Ke dah hilang dah?
Dah, madam.
Hopefully you masih
Tak apa, madam.
ada lagi Alhamdulillah. Sebab tu kadang-kadang saya tak prefer guna. Saya tadi kita start berapa? 10? 45, 45. 1 jam lebih. Sebab tu kadang-kadang saya tak prefer guna real time lecture. Sebab kadang-kadang bila teori part ni you nak dengar je kan macam boring juga. Alright. So tapi saya nak buat video tapi tak jadi semalam 2-3 hari lepas. Mungkin saya punya slide tu is not compatible with the I'm using Prezi video. But it's okay. So this is dah record. Then I akan upload this lecture record ni dalam YouTube, and then saya akan bagi link dekat Google Classroom. So bolehlah you nak repeat balik ke ada benda yang you nak more details, okay, you can repeat balik apa yang you dengar. So anything related to this topic you nak tanya ataupun you want to have a more clarification on the chapter 20 yang lepas? Ada apa-apa nak tanya? Okay, sebelum saya lupa, next week, most probably, mungkin kalau tak hari Isnin pun hari Jumaat lah, kita akan buat Microsoft Project. Kan, Microsoft Project. So, Microsoft Project tu, you need to download the trial version. So, you kena cari trial version. Okay, so kita dah nak mula untuk gunakan Microsoft Project. Okay, so by next week, insyaAllah you dah ada dan kita nak gunakan by next week. Alright, so ni takut nanti dah last minute you ada problem nak download ke apa ke, at least you dah cuba dulu this week, tengok macam mana. So biasa trial version tu saya tak ingat 30 hari kan 60 hari, 30 hari kot. Tapi kalau 30 hari pun cukup, kita guna dalam 2 minggu je. Okay, ada apa-apa before we end this session? Okay, semua okay?
So far okay.
Okay, madam.
Okay, so actually saya gunakan attendance untuk yang ni, saya dah ambil dah, gunakan Microsoft Google Meet juga ni untuk attendance. Okay, okay, kalau saya tak ada apa, we end of this session and then we see what we going to do on the Jumaat ni. Sama ada I'll give you one self-assessment untuk this chapter ataupun I just continue chapter 22. Okay, I will update nanti kemudian. Alright. Okay, so kalau tak ada apa, I see you on this Friday. Okay. So, Assalamualaikum. Good afternoon semua. Have a good lunch after this. Bye.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you, madam.
Alright. You're welcome.